First thing I would just note is that you guys heard Jamal Adams is going to have surgery. I think it's tomorrow on his shoulder, and unfortunately he got hit just the wrong way, and he's going to have to get fixed up. He's been through this before, and he's really rocked by it, of course, but we're all pulling for him to come out and get out of this thing, get back as soon as possible. But really disappointed for him as well as us. Also, pretty exciting to see Travis Homer get named Special Teams Player of the Week, just because it was such a fun play for everybody and all that. But it really was just a statement about execution of the whole group and pulling the thing off. A perfect play for us was pretty cool. And then also, I'm not kind of in the habit of making announcements, but Tyler Lockett named our representative for the Man of the Year competition. This really nice recognition for all the extraordinary things he does everywhere, but also back home in the Tulsa area. He's done a lot of really good things, and so we're real proud and happy for him. Heading to Houston, we got a big trip coming up. We've got to capture some of the rhythm that we felt in the game last week and add to it. I would love to see us play a good complementary game where we feed off one another on offense and defense and maybe capture some of the opportunities that could arise in special teams, just to play really good football. And so that's extremely important for us to keep working to getting better and keep believing we can get better and get that done. So it happens to be happening in Houston. Don't know what's going on with them as far as the quarterback situation, who's playing and all that. Two different style guys. Both guys have shown us enough so that we've had a chance to break the guys down and get ready for Tyrod Taylor or Mills, and we'll see what that all means. And as we go through the week, we'll prepare for both guys until we know more. So it's a big week for us to come back and capture a win this week and take the next step. So, congrats.
Pete, with Jamal, is there added concern or more complication because it's the same shoulder?
No, it wasn't as bad as the last time, is what I understand. So, no.
What do you guys lose him? I mean, he's been playing well of late. Just what are you losing with him?
You lose all of the fire that he brings and the explosive plays and big hits. He's had a couple picks. He's been doing everything except we haven't got him, the sacks that we had a year ago. But other than that, he's been playing really hard and tough, and he's got a lot of energy for us and been very positive.
Did he get hurt specifically on that last play that we saw?
Yeah. He came out right after that.
What went into the decision to have surgery?
He needs it. It was clear. He got a couple opinions on it, and he's got to. They got to fix him. Another one into it. He needs to be fixed up.
Have you talked to him, and what was his sort of?
Yeah. He was really emotional about it last night, and just because it means so much to him to keep playing, and he's been through this before, and to have to go through it again, just he was much more forward thinking, I think, this morning, and the note that I got from him, and so he's going to make the most of it.
I realize that this may be a better question for a doctor, but is there any indication that the previous torn labrum contributed to this one, or is it just?
No, I think he got hit in exactly the wrong spot, and it just was unfortunate that it happened, is what I understand.
With Ryan, assuming he steps in, just is it good to have a guy that's played a bunch and you guys?
Yeah, we're very fortunate that Ryan's been playing all year long, and he's been a come-through guy and playmaker and a big contributor. So he jumped right into that spot, and so we're fortunate to have a guy that's been that active.
You've gotten to see him play a lot of snaps, but obviously he and Jamal are not the same player. Does that impact at all what you can or can't do schematically?
They're a little bit different style, kind of athletically, but all throughout the time we've been together, they've been Ryan's been patterning himself, to play the position the same fashion, whether it's pressure or covering or whatever, and so it won't change us at all in what we're trying to do.
You blitzed Adams far less this year. What did you learn about him and how you now use him and can use him?
Well, we just, we saw him be targeted so much in protection, which is classic. It's an obvious, thing that teams would do. And so we just, we weren't able to get as much out of it. It had nothing to do with him. It was just schematically, people changed the way they went about it. So we just adjusted to that.
Was his number of pass defense plays, was that something that you guys wanted to do at the beginning of the season, or because of the cornerback situation?
Tell me what you mean by that, Art. I'm not sure.
How much he was in pass coverage as opposed to rushing this year. Was that something because of the cornerback situation that you decided in preseason?
No, it wasn't because of that. No, we're just adapting to what's going on, and we'd like to get sacks too. So we would if we could have got that done, we would have. And schematically, you can. He's such a target that people paid attention to wherever he was always accounted for. The year before, it didn't happen like that all the time. And the statement hadn't been made that the guy just made a historic run at sacks, and so that through an off season and all the pub and the hype and all that, the opponents don't want to get beat in the same fashion, so they schemed to do a better job of it. So we took what we could, and that's it. It had nothing to do with the other side that you're talking about.
Do you think the guys haven't taken advantage of those opportunities that open up when the offense is paying so much attention to Jamal?
It doesn't work that way. It's not like they're wasting guys on him. He's just 33 walks up and they go, okay, he's right over there, and so that they have accounted for at all times. And we rushed him from all different angles. He was all over the place, and we've found that wasn't the right thing to do. Just wasting him running into an offensive lineman, it wasn't the right thing.
People around here pay a lot of attention to that trade, the contract. What have you gotten out of him in 2 seasons? What's he brought to the team since you brought him over?
Well, immediately, when you give away a number one pick, and then that pick is going to come in the future, and that's going we had him immediately, and immediately last year he had a huge impact, and he's continued to have a huge impact. Our safeties have played terrific football. These guys they're really, really good together and playing off of one another. So whereas, all the hype's about sacks, well, when's the last time somebody hyped up a safety sack numbers and made a big deal about it? Well, it's because he had such a phenomenal year last year. And, we weren't able to capitalize this year as much as we like. We came out trying. But he's meant a tremendous amount. He's physical, he's tough, he's got great energy, practices like crazy. It's really important to him. In that, the leadership that comes from a guy who plays that hard and throws his body around like he does, it's hard to measure that, And so, I think he's been a fantastic get for us. And I go back to you get him immediately and he's playing for you, and you pick another guy and then you figure out, can he play and how does he do as he's transitioning into the league? And there's, we had immediate response out of that.
Do you need to do anything to add to your safety depth at all with him out and Marquise out?
There's a couple things that we're doing internally, yeah, and we obviously check the wire, we look about what other options there are and all of that, but immediately, because our guys are in the meeting rooms with us, we got to make our adjustments there. It's fortunate that, like we said, that Ryan can take over immediately and jump in there.
The ability that Bradley McDougald could come back, he's a free agent, right?
He's one of the names that we went through, and we talked about it.
Played that dime package on occasion this year with Ryan coming on as the sixth guy. Do you have the depth to be able to continue that now?
And wait and see. Well, why tell them? We'll wait and see. It has been really effective for us. We've turned around our third down numbers, and that's when that basically has been applied. We're up there, and that's been a big factor in getting Ryan on the field again. We did it early in the year, and then we came back to it. I think one of you guys suggested it, and so we decided to do it. And but Ryan's had a big positive impact, and so.
You mentioned that you've seen both their quarterbacks with the rookie Mills. What have you seen of him?
He's really smooth. He throws the ball really nice. He's got a good enough arm to throw everything. He throws the whole offense. He's moved well enough, and when he's taken off, he's still a young guy trying to figure it out. Tyrod's been around a lot, played a lot of football, so there's a difference in the background and the history. But David's done a nice job. You can see he can play the position. He's not struggling at all. He gets the ball out of his hands well when you pressure him and things like that, so he's not getting hit. Like some of the young guys can get banged around, and so he's done okay.
They've had a lot of turnover on their defense, but they forced 18 turnovers this year. What stands out about their defense in that regard?
They really, Lovey's got them really flying around. They've got a real attack mode mentality, and that always has a chance to be disruptive. And the defense that really starts up front with them, and the way they come off the football and attack the line of scrimmage is like Lovey goes all the way back to his Tampa days, and I think as I see it, and the scheme is similar, where it was always built around the guys up front attacking, and they're very aggressive, and so they make things happen.
Jacob Martin sort of become for them the kind of player you guys envision?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he has. He's been a real big effort guy, real consistent. We always talked about the motor that he had, and he continues to play really hard and plays really fast, and they move him around and try to, place him in places that, to make the most of his pass rush, but he chases the football as well as you can, and we missed him. He was a really nice player.
Coach, you may have answered it Monday, but just given your record, how much confidence did that win give you going forward? How much confidence does Sunday give your guys? Do you see it this week in the building?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, we've lost enough games. We lost enough. We figured that thing out. We need to keep building on the wins, and go from it, because it's such a different feeling. It is, and from the locker room, getting off the field, just coming off the sidelines as the game's over, things shift, and so we're working to build on that and try to capture the good and the fun and the playmaking and the continuity that we felt to finish the game and all the things that were necessary, and carry that over. That whole thing is really, that's the art of building on it, and so that you can create momentum moving forward. We're going to try to do that.
Is Alex Collins going to practice?
Yeah. Matter of fact, he was ready to go. He feels better. The week off really did make a difference for him, and so that was the idea, that maybe we could gain a little bit if we held him out. And so far, from when we talked this morning, he feels considerably better. So he has a chance to be really active in this game plan.
Kind of declared that Brandon wouldn't practice all week. That was on Monday. Is he a guy who may need to go on IR to shoulder that bad?
That's not what we're thinking right now.
Damian Lewis gonna.
Yeah, he was out today, ready to go. So he's got to make sure, we have to make sure we get him through the week. But that's a real plus to get him back out there.
What's the thought with Adrian for this week, the plans?
We're going to see how it goes, see how the week goes. And it was the same thing as last week. Remember last week we had 3 guys that were on the injury list, and we got to see how it goes. So one day at a time.
I think DJ and Sydney are both 2 guys on expiring deals. Have they shown you enough that they could potentially be your corner position after this season too?
Will you say that? I missed something there, threw me off. Go ahead. Say that's the question again.
DJ and Sydney just are on expiring deals. Like they'll be free agents.
Expiring deals. Okay, that's yeah.
So it's shown you enough. Like these guys could be the future of the cornerback position for you.
They're playing good football now, and Sydney jumped in again and got his chance with Trey going down, and he played a really good football game last week. So those are really important spots in our evaluations. Of course, we love, really, DJ, we've loved what he's done, and Sid had a heck of a couple games. He's had some really good play for us. So, Bless Austin's got a little bit of play time, too. We're trying to develop, some depth there, because both those guys last week were, DJ, I think, was on the injury list. I don't know if Sydney was, but they've been in and out of kind of some nagging things, But they're making it, and so we've got to develop our depth as well. But both those guys are playing good, and they're certainly in the thinking, that they can be capable to play next year.
What did you see out of Rashad Penny, having him come back into the lineup for you last week?
I like him. I thought it was a little, got a little boost for him. When you go back, you take the run from 2 weeks ago and a couple weeks ago when he popped out pretty good, and then the screenplay was kind of cool. That he, nice instinctive run. And, he ran hard and looked good and felt good. Came out of the game okay. Finally, So let's take the next step. He's going to play a lot this week.
Pete, you mentioned Tyler off the bat with the Man of the Year, and on game day you talked about him talking to the team. He's not always the most outspoken leader in this year, but what has he meant to the program just over the years?
He's been a marvelous pro. I mean, and I say that because of his consistency, and consistency at such a high level. I mean, he's never not been at a top level of play. Not always recognized for it for whatever reason, although I think in the last couple of years his numbers continue to be so crazy positive that everybody's aware of him, and he continues to make huge plays happen in the game, and then he makes difficult plays look routine. I mean, the catch he makes on the sidelines in front of the bench was like as perfect a catch, like the one he had against the Rams in the corner of the end zone. It's as perfect a body control and timing and feel and all that as you can make. So he makes the plays that support the guy as a a leader on your team. He does. I do call on him quite a bit. He does more than you think. I mean, he's kind of soft spoken and all that, but he has a lot to say. He's got a great sense for what's going on, and he's been here through a lot of stuff, and he has a real voice. And so again, just illustrated again what happened on the weekend. So, but he gets some airtime now. He don't think that he's not held under wraps at all.
From a coaching strategy standpoint, what most impressed you about the Monday night game, the weather conditions?
I really like that game. Yeah, I like that game a lot. I've been in that situation a couple times and back there, and I watched that game, kind of intently because I wanted to see if they could pull it off, and hang with it. And I thought Bill did a marvelous job, of just playing the elements and knowing how the game was going. I thought he ebbed it really well, in that he stayed with it and kind of kept it at the edge. And I thought it was a really masterful job. But both teams played for it, it reminds me of the Marv Levy days when we used to play there, and when Marv would go into the wind, he'd be in two tight ends, two backs, run the ball up the middle, and not even try to score. Just make sure that you made it through. Then the wind would, he'd shift with the wind, and boom, here you go after you. And so he wasn't. Coach Belichick didn't go that way. I mean, he went to the extreme with it, but he knows as well as anybody that's ever coached this game about the factor of the football. They're great at not giving the ball up, and they've been for years and years and years. It's always been at the heart of it, and I thought that was an incredible illustration of that, and he played off his defense really well. I mean, I thought it was a really cool game. I love that one. It's one for the coaches, maybe not for the fans.
How's Kyle Fuller?
He's not practicing today. Remember, we said that he has a contusion and not a sprain, and so we just got to see how it responds in the next couple of days. So we'll give him a couple of days and see what happens.
Any other injuries we didn't ask about from the game? Everybody else make that okay?
We're good. Yep, we're good. Okay.
What's up, everybody? Missed you guys last week. No sarcasm. This week I'm going to talk about supporting local businesses. One that I want to talk about specifically is a business out in LA called Hilltop Coffee and Kitchen, one that I go to a lot. It's a black-owned coffee shop that is kind of a space for creators and entrepreneurs to connect. I think it's important to support local businesses because it's what keeps the community going. And so I encourage anybody in Seattle to reach out to me with some local businesses that they think I should take a look at, try. I got this dope hoodie with Hilltop, so you guys can go online and grab one. I got all of them in every color, so I think you can't go wrong in any cover. I just started drinking coffee probably 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, so I'm a part of the group now. So like I said, my Twitter handle was bwag, so reach out to me with any local businesses that y'all want me to try out. I definitely feel like if you guys are in the area in LA, try out Hilltop. My go-to is I always get the acai bowl and I get the breakfast sandwich, but I always substitute for turkey sausage. So, everybody can add their own flavor. I never put mayo on anything. Mayo is disgusting. So if you have mayo in your kitchen, I will not be in that kitchen. So yeah, questions for me.
Follow-up question of what is your coffee order?
I'm still learning. I had a bad experience when I was playing AAU basketball. I think I had to been like 8th grade, and that was my first time being on my own, being in a hotel by myself. And so I saw a little coffee spot on the thing, so I tried to make coffee, but I didn't know you had to put stuff in it. So I just made it, and I drank it, and it was terrible. And so I never tried coffee again. And so I've probably been to Starbucks like 50 times and never ordered a coffee, only ordered tea. So, but I'm with you guys now. So
What prompted the sudden decision to start drinking coffee?
I don't know. Somebody just had me try coffee, and I had a lot of energy, and I didn't know that that's what coffee did. And so, now I like it.
Bobby,
Did you watch the Monday night game?
Not really.
You see that New England threw it only 3 times?
Yeah, I saw. I mean, I heard about it. They ran like 80,000 times and passed twice. I mean, they won, so I don't know why everybody's feels some type of way.
Bobby, how much of it just a relief was it for you guys to finally get one in the win column here this last week?
It's always nice to win. I think it's good to win. It's also equally as important to not win and think that you're the best thing, and we got to stay focused. We got to understand we got a lot of games ahead of us. So my job is just to make sure everybody doesn't get ahead of themselves and start overlooking people, because we're not in a position to do that. So it was nice to get a win, but we're not satisfied with where we're at, even though we got one win, and we're looking to try to build off of where we finished last week.
I was just saying, what will you guys miss not having Jamal for the rest of the year?
His energy for sure, but I mean, it's another playmaker out there, a guy that you have to plan for in the game plan. You got to know where he's at. If you when you're watching film, you can see that offenses have to know where he's at, because they have to be conscious of him blitzing. And so, it's going to be a lot from his leadership, his energy, his passion for the game. We're definitely gonna miss that.
Out of that, you plug in a guy in Ryan Neal who's played a ton, started games. Just how confident are you guys in what he can do?
We're very confident because we kind of had this situation happen last year with Jamal. Unfortunately, he missed some games, and Ryan came in and showed he's a baller, and which is the reason why he's playing a lot more this year because of that. And so we're confident in Ryan. We understand that he can do the job, and but we still gonna miss Jamal.
What has he brought you in 2 seasons?
Who, Jamal or?
All Adams in the defense.
I think it's the passion is the one that jumps off the tape The way he plays the game, you can see how much he loves this game. And then his ability to blitz is unmatched for a guy like that to be able to apply that amount of pressure to quarterbacks and strike that much fear into offenses. I think that's been something special.
Even when he's not blitzing, have you noticed the impact that he has on offenses and how they pre-snap? I mean, you see them more so even this year than last year, than how they were adjusting to him.
Yeah, because they have to be conscious, and whenever he's, whether he's in the boundary or into the field, you can tell the offenses are conscious of, where he's at on the field because they know at any given moment he can come, and you have to be, you have to be conscious of him. So the offenses know where he's at all times because he's almost like another D lineman to an extent, with his ability to be able to rush.
Seems like you've had a lot of games this year where you go into the week not sure what quarterback you're going to see, and this is another one. Just how do they look offensively between the two different guys, or are they a bunch different?
I think from a scheme perspective, they're pretty much the same, but obviously Tyrod has a ability to run. They have a little bit more zone reads and things where he can keep the ball. They run it with the other guy, but he's not going to keep it too much, and it's not really designed for him to keep it. It's more so for when we're falling asleep, he'll keep it just to keep us honest. But I think that's the biggest difference. But as far as the routes and what they're looking for, it's pretty much the same.
During the 2019 season when Ryan first came here, he didn't play much. Was there anything that sort of stood out to you as showing signs that he could be as impactful as he's been when he's gotten his opportunities? Yeah,
you watch him at practice, and he was making plays at practice. And a lot of times when you watch guys like that, you see how they are when they're on practice squad or they're playing, against our offense. And he was making plays at practice, and he was being a key contributor on special teams. And so, we got to see it firsthand at practice, him having the ability to make those plays. And, when he got his opportunity, he captured it.
Bobby, you've spent a lot of time on the field this year. The defense has been on the field a lot, and you've made a lot of tackles. Does it feel any different this year right now where you are in December?
Not really. I think, you prepare your body in the off season for whatever the season has to offer. And so you never really know how many plays you're going to play in the season. You never know what you're going to have to do in the season. And so your job is just to prepare yourself for whatever the season entails. And so, I feel like that's kind of how I train my body in the off season. And so we've been out there a lot, and we've been having to make a lot of plays and tackles. And I feel fine. I have a great routine to get myself ready for Sunday, and I just stick to it.
And it felt like 2 years since you've gotten an interception.
I didn't realize that in a sense. And then a lot of people say I get a lot of picks versus San Fran. So it was nice to get my hands on the ball. It was actually funny because they ran that same play or a similar play. I think it was like play 16 of the game we played down there. And it was the exact same play, different receivers, though. I think down there was number 11. This one was number 81. I think they thought Jamal was coming this time, and it was Brooks the last time. And so, I recognized it and backed up and got it this time.
Anything else, guys?
Good. Appreciate it.
What's going on? I'm doing good. How y'all doing? Everybody good? I like that mask. I need to get that Kraken mask. That's lit.
Ryan, what's this opportunity mean for you to step in for Jamal again?
Well, first off, I do want to say, you hate seeing something like this happen to somebody who works extremely hard at their craft, gives it everything, is very passionate, and to have that happen to him again, it sucks. It's a big blow. You're losing a special guy like that who means a lot to everybody on the team, and fortunately, it's the second time this happened in kind of a similar fashion, which is crazy. But for me, it's just the same thing. Just step in, be accountable, be there for the people around me, be there for my team. The defense, the coaches, everything. Of course, it's an opportunity for me, but it ain't even about me. You know what I mean? It's about everybody else, and how can we keep this thing rolling in the direction that we got it? So my whole mindset is step in, do my job, do it to the best of my ability to help us win games, and that's just how I'm looking at it.
The 4 starts that you got last year for Adams, what did that do for you, and what do you think you showed in those 4 games?
Well, first and foremost, it gave me experience. Before that, I never played in an NFL game before as a starter, full time. And it taught me a lot of things. I learned a lot from the game then. Things happen fast. So you got to be ready to rock and roll. And, in those 4 games, I had to just, had to figure it out real quick. And I had to rely on the guys around me. Having KJ last year was huge. He was a guy I heavily relied on to learn what was going on and the movements and everything. But the difference this time around is I had the experience. I've been playing this year, a little bit in dime packages and stuff like that. So for me, it's just nothing but another play I get to play. You know what I mean? And way more confident this time around stepping into it. You know what I mean? It's not a shock to me. It may be a shock to, everybody else, but it's not a shock to me. You know what I mean? I'm just here to come in and do my job. So that's what last year gave me.
Coach Carroll said that you've really been working to pattern your game after Jamal's to really help with making sure if you do have to play that the scheme can be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you feel like you're at now compared to where you were then in that regard?
Way better now. You know what I mean? Even when we was in practice, when we walked through, I shadow him and everything he does. Just even getting tips and advice from him. And, you do want to get, of course, you get advice from a guy like that. That's an all-pro Pro Bowler we're talking about. So going over his house, always in his ear. What does he see? How does he see it? And, the one thing is this, man, I'm not Jamal. You know what I mean? That's a special kid with special talent. I'm Ryan Neal. So Ryan Neal's going to do what Ryan Neal's going to do. But in that fact to your question, I really hope that me shadowing him and learning from behind him can help us remain having that flexibility in our defense and stuff like that, and not have to shy away from anything that we've been doing. So that's the hope that I can give the coaches, and hopefully they can trust me to do the job. So.
In 2018, did you expect to get drafted?
Oh, no. I knew I wasn't. In fact, I knew I wasn't. I didn't have any bowl game invites, didn't have, any, no combines or anything like that. And even talking with my agent during that time, I understood what it was. And my whole goal in 18 was to get my foot in the door, no matter if it was a tryout, undrafted, whatever. I kind of knew what the deal was going to be. And so, when teams would call me, I was like, well, we don't really have you. I just told them, look, I don't need to be drafted. You give me the opportunity, you're not going to tell me no. And that's just kind of how I looked at it. So, yeah, I already knew I wasn't going to get drafted.
Did you watch the draft?
I mean, I did just for, just because. But, I watched it a little bit, but I already knew the game plan. But it did shock me, though. I did get a couple phone calls during the draft, and I was like, oh, maybe I could. But it didn't happen that way, but I still got the opportunity. So, and I'm here now, so it all worked out.
How hard did Seattle try to, or if at all, did Seattle try to recruit you after the draft?
Well, let me see. I didn't really talk to Seattle at all. It came down to 2 teams, which was Philly and Atlanta. I chose Philly and still ended up in Atlanta. But after that, my little stint with Atlanta, the first day after I got cut from there, Seattle, rang my phone and, shout out to, the coaches who they're very intertwined, like Dan Quinn was here and all that. So I'm pretty sure they spoke good on my behalf when they came to get me. But other than that, not really a lot.
When you're at that point, you're like you said, you're not getting the invites to the Senior Bowl, all that stuff. You don't think you're going to get drafted. What kind of keeps you going? What motivates you?
What motivates me is just my film. You know what I mean? I looked at the film. I looked at the plays that I made, comparing it to other guys who were in the draft, and I'm like, oh, I'm right there. I'm right there in the conversation. You know what I mean? It's not too far off. Of course, they talk about, level of play, FCS, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you cut the film on, I get it in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing it just like any of the other guys that went to the bigger schools. And that's kind of what gave me the hope, you know what I mean? And just hold on to that dream. I've seen plenty of guys go undrafted and make it in, so why couldn't I do it? You know what I mean? And just start something big at my school, which now is it's on a roll. Guys are coming out of there. Saluk's getting in the league, so I'm proud of that. But yeah, man, the hope was just, just sticking to the script, sticking to the plan, going to the workouts, and understanding that the pro days is where I was going to make my money at. The pro days is where I had to really, focus on the shine, and I did that, and that also helped me get my foot in the door as well. So that's just what kept me going.
That's how you were a safety?
Yeah. I was a safety. I was a safety when I got there. Then I went to corner my sophomore year, and then the last 2 years I finished up at safety.
Did you want those switches, or did Coach Rogers?
The corner switch was before Coach Rogers got there. That was with the old coaching staff. But as soon as Coach Rogers came in, they moved me right back to safety, where I, love to play. So.
Playing at corner in Atlanta?
Yeah, when I first got to Atlanta, I went back to corner, and I was like, okay. And then in the preseason game, I ended up making like a tackle for loss on 3rd and 1, and then the next week I was starting safety because I had to learn the playbook like that fast. So I mean, you talk about position switches and scheme changes, and I done been through it all. I done seen it all. You know what I mean? So that's kind of just been the story of my life for real.
I think you mentioned last year there was one brief moment when you thought about sort of giving it up or whatever.
Yeah, man. I mean, you go in and undrafted, went to Philly. I got cut like before the first preseason game. Went to Atlanta, made the practice squad there, and then I got cut again, so I was cut number 2. So I'm like, all right. Ended up coming out here, and then when I first got here, I was playing corner. Got a phone call in the offseason like, hey, we want to try you at safety again. I'm like, all right, cool. I had a really good camp, you know what I mean, and didn't make it again. And it was just like, is it just time to grow up, or is it just time to just, face the facts like, maybe this might be as far as I go. And, you contemplate stuff like that. And, good thing I got a great support system around me, people who believe in me and, talk some sense into me like, hey, what else would you rather be doing? You know what I mean? And I'm just like, well, let's go back and do it again. And everything just came through, and I'm here now, so.
What is growing up going to be? You said, should I grow up and do something else? What was that going to be?
I have no idea. Still don't know. Like, I'm just like, well, I had to find something. I mean, I honestly don't know. I didn't know then, but I just knew at the time I was like, I mean, if this isn't working out, what am I, what am I doing here? So, I mean, but you eventually find your way out the game, one way or another, and stuff you got to think about, which I should be thinking about. But, that time will get here when it get here.
What part of your game did you elevate, do you think, that made the difference in sticking with the roster?
Just, man, that's a great question. I think just being adamant on special teams. That's one thing that I understood that all undrafted people understand, and practice squad guys, is that your golden ticket is special teams. So my first couple of years, I wasn't really the best at it. But then next thing you know, I just found my groove in it, and then just let, my natural self take over. And that's just, running fast, making plays, and just hitting people and not really caring what is going on around me. And that was the biggest part that helped me out, make the roster. And then after that, everything just, solved itself from there on.
When did you feel like you started to settle in and become a little bit more established, and that this wasn't just kind of something where you were hanging on and that it was kind of bedding in a little bit more for you?
I don't even think settled is a good word. I mean, in this business, you can't be settled. So in my mind, it's just always, I got to grind, I got to get it, I got to work hard, I got to outwork. That's just always been my mindset. And even, from the first couple years in the league, like I said, being on practice squads, after practice squads and undrafted, that mindset hasn't changed. To me, there is no such thing as settling in here, because every year there's a draft, and on the street there's a bunch of guys like me who are starving and hungry for an opportunity. And best believe if you don't show up for work, they'll find somebody else to do the job. So I'm never settled.
Have you talked to Jamal since he found out?
I spoke to him, I think, the day after, and I mean, he's heartbroken. Anybody would be. And I'm heartbroken for him, you know what I mean? Like I said, you work so hard at something, and it gets taken away off of just a routine play, you know what I mean? Just a routine play, and the fact that it's a shoulder that he got worked on, you know what I mean? It breaks your heart even more. It's like, dude, it's the same problem I had last year. And, like I told him, man, just take the time, man. Get away from it, get off the phone, just go through your emotions and let it flourish and let it go through, so that way you can move on and get back into it, because we already know we're looking forward to him coming back. I'm looking forward to it coming back next year. We're excited. He was having a great season. I mean, great season. Of course, everybody talks about the blitzing and stuff like that, but the work that he was doing on the back end and the communication, getting lined up and still flying around making plays, that energy and presence he was doing at an all-time high. So, you know, right now he's going through it, and the only thing we can do is be there for him and love him up, you know what I mean, and help him get on the road to recovery.
Which game was it last year? As you said, you really had to develop a post-game regimen for your body. Was it the Vikings?
Yeah, man, they came in. Ooh, Lord, yeah. I was beat up after that game. I felt like I got hit by 2 semi-trucks. I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta get right, man. And like I said, that's part of the learning experience, you know, being a starter. That taught me that quick, you know what I mean? Come waking up the next day and it's like, okay, I gotta do this all over again next week. Yes, so you better find a way to get your body back together. So, yeah, that taught me a big lesson right there.
What did you start feeling after games now?
Shoot, cold tub and ice tub, hot tub, massages, acupuncture, anything and everything. Stretching, yoga, Pilates, anything. It's just like in this game, you got to rebound as fast as you can, eating right, all that, being hydrated, just all the little things, man. Just making sure you stay on top of it because as you go, the wear and tear just grows no matter what you do, you know what I mean? And the only thing you can do is give your body the best chance to go out there and do what you need to do. So, heck yeah.
That game different. The Vikings, they just ran it a little bit more.
Oh yeah, they ran that ball, man. And like I think I told you the one time I was like, yeah, I gotta get strong, man. I gotta, you know what I mean? Like this is different, man. I didn't know it was gonna be like this. So yeah, they came out there with big personnel, big people. I'm like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, I gotta get strong. So yeah, they were running that ball like crazy.
One more. I know you don't want to like get cut or get benched, in college or whatever. But in hindsight, what did those setbacks do for you? Like how did they contribute to how you got here?
It taught me a couple things, man. It taught me how to serve because I did lose my spot in college too, and it taught me how to be a guy that has to serve. You know what I mean? So when it came down to practice squad, I was kind of ready for it. It taught me to always compete, to always come back and just and give it your best shot, and it really just helped me out when it came to the league because you take losses or you get cut or you feel like doors close on you. It's a life lesson, really, and it's just like, you know what, if that door closed, that means there's just another one. This door just didn't have my name on it, you know what I mean? And as long as I give my best efforts, I'm at peace knowing that, God just didn't have it in his cards right then and there. I gave him my best shot, and I didn't get it, that's okay. You go back home, cry your tears, do what you need to do, but sun come up, and when sun come up, that means I got another opportunity to make something happen. So it did nothing but just it taught me how to just grind, be willed, just super willing, and just ready to work at all times. And like I say, opportunities spin the block. They come back, and they came back again, and it's here now. So what you gonna do when they come back? It may not come how you want it to or how you expected it, but it will come. So you just got to be ready at all times, and that's what that taught me.
Anything else? Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.